Ladies and gentlemen, I am back at it again, doing work while I'm on break. I actually decided to open up my stream for this because yes, Kuro Games has answered the call, ladies and gentlemen. Kuro Games has listened because they told us before that we were going to be... Oh, whoopsies. They told us before that we were going to be getting some news on Lahai-Roi, Startorch Academy, the new region 3.0, all of that on the 26th. And boy, oh boy, they have delivered. Good God, I've never seen so much drip marketing in such a small amount of time, and it appears the developers have listened, and they've given us all of it. And that's why we're here. We're going to react to it. We're going to give our takes on all of the designs, all of the characters, all of the potential kits based off of what we know in-game, and talk a little bit about what 3.0 might have in store. So get ready, get set, buckle down, because I think this one is going to be an adventure, because who knows, we've already gotten 4. There might be another one that drops in the middle of recording, so I'll make sure to refresh. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with the very first one that we see on the screen over here. Mornye, should that light be reachable? So when it comes to this character, I've got a lot of things to say right off of the bat. Part of me is saying, what the hell was Kuro Games thinking? And another part of me is saying, damn, that's pretty creative and that's pretty unique. Because to me, one thing that we know about Startorch Academy and one thing that we know about the lineup that we've already seen is that it looks like a blend of like professors as well as students that are going to be the playable units. And this to me looks like one of those professors, right? She looks a little bit sophisticated. She's got that elegant vibe about her, you know, bringing up the projections, all of that. And like kind of like the stuff that she's wearing, all of that, it does give me a bit more like that mature vibe. Plus the fact that she doesn't have legs and has whatever sort of replacement is going on over here. So yeah, very interesting design overall. I'm a fan of like the hair, but I'm not really sure what take I can make about whatever the hell is going on down here. It's a little weird, but I'm sure it'll tickle a couple of people's fancies. Now, when it comes to what I think about like things like her name, I'm going to be real over here. I'm pretty like lukewarm about it because I've got no idea what sort of like ethnicity, what sort of like dialect this one's supposed to be from. And I'm not really sure what the overall like vibe of Lahai-Roi actually is. Maybe it's literally meant to be one of the most multicultural places ever. So it looks like we're just going to have like a bunch of, you know, unique different namings and stuff across the region. I don't even know if you can call it a region at this point. It's more like a place, if we're frankly being honest. So now that we've covered bits about her design and all of that, now let's talk a bit about what I think her role is going to be in-game. So let's just address the elephant in the room over here. There's one character that's been released in Wuthering Waves that feels like she doesn't necessarily have a home yet. That she doesn't necessarily feel like she has a ton of value on the roster yet. She supports like one team and she's really desperately looking for more. And we know that one thing about Chisa is that she is a very big supporter of negative statuses. And so with that in mind, and the fact that this character's got the white hair and she really is giving me Glacio vibes, well, with the updates that Kuro Games has made to some of the negative statuses in the game, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really beginning to think that this character, Mornye, she's probably going to be a Glacio Chafe unit. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's actually what occurred, because that would be 2 birds with 1 stone. It would help Chisa find a new team and we could build out this negative status over here, which is, you know, a really cool one. And it would also solve the issue of us having literally no Glacio characters in the game. This is the last one that was released, ladies and gentlemen. The last Glacio character. She was in 2.0, literally about a year ago. Yes, about a year ago is when she released. And the one before that was Jeja. So yeah, we've had 2 Glacio characters in the history of this game. Surely 3.0 will be the time for our 3rd. So, yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. So when it comes to Glacio Chafe, what this debuff actually does is it deals damage over time, and it stacks up to 10. And then the damage of that DOT increases, the number of, you know, as the number of stacks goes higher. And then when you hit the stack limit, you CC the enemy. And then you combine that with Chisa as well. You can deal even more damage. I guess delay your freeze a little bit, but that looks like something that could be really cool. And I hope it's something that gets fleshed out a little bit more, because a lot of these mechanics do look very interesting. But yeah, and now when it comes to weapons, I'm gonna be honest over here. I got no guess. I got no guess at all. I would put money on like a rectifier if I had to make an option, but I'm not gonna go ahead and say and give any vote of confidence right now, because characters in this game, you can't take their equipped weapon for anything. Hell, she might use a pistol. Honestly, they just might make her use a pistol to be funny. All right, that's gonna be Mornye. Now it's time for us to take a look at some of the other character releases, ladies and gentlemen, because my oh my, Kuro Games is really pushing the envelope with some of these ones. So this is Lucila. Should that spark guide? So you remember how I said the playable characters for Lahai-Roi, the playable characters for Startorch Academy, they were going to give me a vibe, right? Between professors or the students. This is like the headmistress, right? She possesses so much absurd dommy mommy energy. It's absolutely ridiculous. You combine that with the fact that I guess her equipped weapon is a goddamn briefcase, and then she's got like the hat too, and good lord, whatever is going on over here and whatever is trying its hardest to hold it back, let's be honest, combined side split seam dress too, and that much thigh showing, good lord. We know who the target audience is for this one, and I do believe that she is going to appeal to a lot of individuals. Just imagine, I don't even know what they're going to do in game. Like how are they gonna render this and model this so that it like doesn't make the game 16 plus? Who knows? But yeah. We also see in the background over here, and maybe this is something that I should actually look for in Mornye's background as well. I'm gonna go do that real fast. Oh, would you look at that in the drip marketing drop? Don't worry, we'll look at all of them. Nah, she just got stars and shit. So anyways, what we got in the background over here for Lucilla is film roll. So perhaps a part of her kit is like taking photos, photography, all of that sort of deal. And well, maybe that's a part of how she deals damage. Maybe that's a part of how her kit works. And now, when it comes to what role she's going to play and her attribute, well, ladies and gentlemen, you all remember how I talked a lot about Glacio Chafe, and I talked a lot about damage over time and negative statuses? Well, let's just rehash that conversation again. Because if there was any character in the game that screamed Electro to me, it's this one. If this character is not Electro, like if this character doesn't have that attribute, I'm going to be real with you, brother. I don't know what Kuro Games is doing anymore. I don't think she could necessarily be anything else. I genuinely don't think that she could be anything else at all. And, you know, maybe it's that, maybe that's what they're talking about over here when they say spark. But once again, I'm not going to put too much of a vote of confidence in any sort of presumptions I can make when Kuro Games is involved, because remember, guys, this is also an Electro character. Yeah, this unit over here was also Electro. So let's just make sure that, you know, our expectations are ready to get subverted. But I think she's going to be Electro. And I also think that she's probably going to be the character if she is Electro, because it seems like Lahai-Roi might be the land of negative status. If, you know, Chisa's going back home and she is the negative status character, I think that this is what she's going to provide. And what Electro Flare does is it focuses on just like purely damage over time. It builds up to a stack limit of 10. And as the stacks go up, the damage over time goes up. And then when it reaches the stack limit of 10, it gets a second version of the debuff that increases the damage even more, called Electro Rage. So it basically stacks up to 20. And then what Chisa does is she takes those stacks and adds 3 onto both of them. So it maxes out to 26. I'm going to be real over here, ladies and gentlemen. This might be absolutely nuts to see in gameplay, and it's probably the negative status that I'm, without a doubt, the most excited to actually see. So I'm hoping that this is her. If it's not, unfortunate, but, you know, maybe film roll, all of that, coordinated photo shots off-field. Think a little bit like Charlotte from Genshin. Hey, maybe that's what they're going to be doing. And it would be pretty cool. All right, that's Lucilla, I think. Lucilla. However the hell you pronounce that shit. We'll find out. Now let's see some of the other units, ladies and gentlemen. All right, our next one up is going to be Sigrika. Okay, so the first thing I think of when I see this character is like autumn. Yeah, I think about like apricots and like autumn and like persimmons as well as pecans. I'm not the most excited about this one, but I think we can clearly see that Lahai-Roi, just from like the name reveal and all of that, I think she's definitely meant to be of like, you know, kind of like maybe like, I don't know if Nordic is the right word, but like kind of like, you know, up there in like in the geography. That seems to be where her origin is from. And she almost like reminds me of like, I see what she's got going on over here. Maybe she's like related to Encore. Maybe she's got like a bit of like a herding farm mechanic going on. Like she reminds me of like sheep herding. That's what it is. Yeah, she reminds me of sheep herding. And so maybe her kit has something to do with like summoning things in combat or like, you know, like creating like little creatures. Like maybe she like summons a goat. I feel like she literally summons a goat in combat. Yeah, that's the vibe that I'm getting over here. And maybe her creations are similar to what Encore has. And part of Fusion's thing is like they summon goat creatures from hell. I don't know, man. It kind of looks like the same photo. It kind of looks like the same photo, whatever they got going on over here. And I'm going to be honest, guys. Something that looks this distinct and something that looks like this iconic, I don't think that's just for show. It's like a wraparound bag. I don't think that's for show. I think that's something that she's actually going to use. But yeah, it looks like this might be, if we're thinking about academy professors, students and stuff like that, this is definitely a student. This might also be, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if this is even a 5-star character, but she might be. But this is definitely one of the students. She looks like she's like way more on like the younger side, even like younger than like Mornye and all of that. And definitely has like that very youthful looking face over here alongside the elf ears. But I don't think elf ears are really like even an important thing in this game. So yeah, I mean, the design overall, like I said, it just reminds me of like, she looks like a cheesemaker. That's what it is. I don't know, like a country bumpkin like cheesemaker sort of vibe. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but maybe she'll like be cool in game. Maybe she'll be like neat in the story, and we'll like grow on her over time. All I know for certain is that I remember, y'all remember this unit? Yeah, I thought she looked like a fucking nerd, bro. Remember this when Phoebe got revealed back? I thought I was like, who is this nerd, man? Get this nerd off my screen. Give me back like Carlotta and all those other characters. And now this is one of the most, I would dare say, one of the more popular units in the game. So let's just not let first impressions speak too loudly. Her tagline is, should that expectation overflow? Okay, I've got no fucking idea what that, I think that's just a random quote from like the start. I think that's just a random quote. I'm not gonna go ahead and try to like get any level of significance out of that one. Like, I don't know, is she gonna, maybe she's gonna be weak in the story and then her kid is broken. That's where the expectations are going to be. But that's Sigrika. I don't feel the need to spend too much time on her. Now, let's get back into some more interesting characters. We've got Luuk Herssen. Brother has 2 names. We got Luuk Herssen. This dude has 2 fucking names. Should that molten gold drip? Okay, that's a crazy line to draw for this one. We basically got Luocha. We've got Otto. We've got the tall, blonde, I guess red-eyed dude who I guess is also a professor, because I'm looking at like the name tag and all of that. I'm looking at the outfit. Bro looks like he is without a doubt teaching at the academy. And I'm gonna be real over here. It looks like he does like a bit of like that chemistry. It looks like he has some of that scientific background going on into it. Not sure how I necessarily feel about the outfit. Not sure how I necessarily feel about the entire design, actually. He kind of looks like, and I'm happy to change my mind, you know, once seeing stuff in-game. He kind of looks like he had like a regular NPC outfit with a coat put on. Maybe that's going to offend some people, but take this coat off. Like, imagine the coat isn't there, and then he's an NPC. Literally. Without this teal coat, he's literally just wearing a shirt and slacks. That's it. And so, I guess to me, some people might be perfectly fine with that design, but this looks like a casual wear skin instead of like an actual, like, in-game sort of thing. I don't really know. Maybe it'll look better in game. Maybe he'll look like a lot more distinct. But from like what I would just expect from like a guy with like, you know, pants, belt, and like a jacket, it is a little nondescript. It is like it doesn't really like stand out that much. Facial design and all of that, the hair and everything, I think it's unique. I think it's cool. Blonde is something that we've never had before in the game. But yeah, I don't know. This one isn't necessarily fully doing it for me. All right. Now, let's talk a little bit about the role. Let's talk a little bit about what he's going to do. I'm going to be honest over here. I have absolutely no idea at all. He might be a Spectro character, but with like chemistry and stuff like that and chemicals and all of that shit, I still don't know. This guy literally appears to me to be one of the most, maybe it's Aero because like there's fumes, there's chemical fumes. I guess maybe Aero, he's got like Aero colors in the background. He's got like Aero colored stuff. And I guess like there's fumes and shit. He might also be like a healer. Could also be a healer because he's like mixing the chemicals and then maybe he'll like give you a stim shot to boost your damage capabilities in combat. But yeah, this one to me is just everything's up in the air with this one. Everything's up in the air with this one. I'm not the biggest fan of the design, but hey, it is what it is. That one's gonna be Luuk Herssen, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, maybe he's the Spectro Frazzle DPS that replaces Zani. God knows we need that. God knows we need that character. Yeah. I don't know. Like, why does this one feel like a bit of a miss to me? Why does this one just feel like a bit of a miss to me? I feel like no, this one's unique enough. No, I just give him closer inspection. Yeah, this one's unique enough. Yeah, no, this one stands out. Nah, this one stands out for sure. This one has a lot of elements that... This one's got a lot of elements that make it so that you know that this character is this character. You're not going to confuse Lucilla with anybody else. Yeah, that's something that she's got going on. What about the other designs that we've seen? Yeah, she got fucked up legs. Yeah, she'll stand out. She's a redhead, so that'll do it. That'll do it for you too. Yeah, he's the most NPC out of them all for sure. He is the most NPC design out of all of them for sure. Wait, Chatter just mentioned something. Look at his arms. You're right. Wait, he's got like glowing circuitry in his arms that like connects to his gloves. Wait, maybe he is Electro. Yo, that might be it. It looks like his veins are electrical. I guess he's also an Electro character. Cause yeah, you can see the wires are going right into like his gloves, and like the wires are his veins. Okay, so I guess this might be like an Electro healer or something. Yeah, that might be the vibe that's going on over here. Look at the YouTube shorts. All right. Oh, they've uploaded some shorts. Let's take a look at all of them real fast. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, that's a little weird. Yeah, that didn't tell me shit. All I know is that she, like, uses touchscreens. That one told me nothing. Yeah, that was not helpful. Show me electricity. Okay, we got the film roll and everything. Okay. Yeah, that didn't tell me nothing either. Okay, what about her? Shirley, farmer girl. Bro, it's like she's like assembling the herd stones. What the fuck is like, bro? She literally, I'm right, bro. She's like a shaman. She's a goddamn pagan, bro. Yeah, she channels earth energy or some shit. Yeah, I'm lukewarm on that one. Now let's see NPC guy. No, this guy's just DNA. Yeah, this told me nothing. It's just DNA and golden veins. Okay, whoever told me to look at the YouTube shorts, they were, I guess, sort of neat to look at, but they gave no additional information. Like, the YouTube short was basically whatever was in the background glows, and then it goes into the actual drip. It is what it is. All right, now let's just go ahead and take a look at the last character then. Starting from the YouTube shorts, and then we'll look at the actual drip marketing. Because, well, there was another one that went live while we were already recording. Should that rainbow spill? Okay. All right, yep, this is definitely one of those students. Yep, and they got the whole, like, bubblegum thing going. And the graffiti. Yeah. think we all know what's going on over here. Yep, she's the rebel. She's the troublemaker. Yep, and I feel like this is the character that a lot of people are going to be the most excited about. Yep, this is going to be, I guess, Lynae, and that is going to be, without a doubt, a gal. She looks like a delinquent, for sure. She looks like she causes trouble. I'm excited for what the voice actor for this character is going to be, because I think the voice is going to make or break this unit. That's what I think. The voice is without a doubt going to make or break this unit. If they do a really, really good job with it, she might be one of the most popular characters released in the history of the game. This might also be one of those characters where you want to switch the language over to Japanese while they're on screen for... Well, if you don't know the reason, then, well, you can go ahead and find out when she releases. So, yeah, this is going to be Lynae, should that rainbow spill. And so, let's talk a little bit more about the design that we got going on over here. Yeah, I mean, it's just, she's got, like, the typical ridiculous out of nowhere hairdo, the hair clips and all of that, the bubble gum and stuff, the... jacket that she refuses to wear, that she'll probably be like, she'll have like hanging over her shoulder while she's in the middle of combat. And well, she's given Chisa a run for her money when it comes to the skirt length on this outfit over here. That is absolutely diabolical. But of course, you gotta leave room for the tacit mark, ladies and gentlemen. So there's actually a lore reason for what is going on over here. Make sure you remember that. When it comes to the role that I think she's going to play and the stuff that she's doing, I think that the graffiti, I think that the visuals, I think that this part should hopefully play a very, very big role. And when I think about this sort of dynamic over here, I think about like light. Oddly enough, I think about Spectro. And my vibe over here is that she might actually be like a Spectro DPS or something like that. I don't know if she's going to be Spectro Frazzle, but to me, that would be the coolest thing ever, right? Having like the light refracting into like, just think about Jinx from Arcane. We all know what I'm talking about when I say Jinx from Arcane. Into, like, explosions and visuals like that in-game. Brother, that would be crazy. That would be sick. Just think about the different sorts of, like, combinations you can do. And, like, think about what her ultimate's gonna look like. You can, like, paint other characters. You can paint, like, other characters' abilities and stuff like that. And we all know from what Kuro Games has done when it comes to, like, shit. Like, I can just demonstrate it for you, right? Imagine something like this for her, where when Chuyan, right? When Chuyan gets his full forte, the world turns black and white. What if, like, something in her kit just has, like, the entire world looking like this? And you get, like, this filter on the screen for everything in combat. I'm just thinking about the possibilities that they could go with this character. And she, to me, definitely seems like the most exciting right off of the bat. Yeah. Other things that this light could be used for, I mean, the main thing to me really is, like, light. However, this could also be, like, explosions, too. So maybe she's, like, fusion and fusion burst, which is, you know, the other negative status that has yet to be fully fleshed out. That might be what takes place. That might be what's actually happening because, you know, once again, like I said, 3.0 seems like the region of negative statuses. So, sorry, that was for a previous segment. That tab was saved from a previous segment. I assure you there is a professional reason. There's a professional reason for why I was... Anyways. All right. I think that's actually going to sum up all of the drip that Wuthering Waves has prepared for us today. And I'm going to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, my intent was not to actually go through every single one of these drip marketings. I was going to go through one of them and then save the rest for tomorrow, because that's what Kuro did back in the day. They released them like an hour after each other, so you couldn't like react to all of them at once. That was my plan, but it looks like these developers are continuing to subvert the expectations from the audience every single day. And last little tidbits that I'll say is that I feel like there's a lot more that's still coming, ladies and gentlemen. As we're all aware, there was a previous video released by the Wuthering Waves team that actually let us know a little bit more about what we're going to be seeing in the next region. They released that next stop Renacida video over here. So that's just something to keep in mind. We probably have that coming up. And then Wuthering Waves is also probably going to be featured prominently as well during the Game Awards. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. It probably should be featured as well during the Game Awards, where we're probably going to get another trailer. And so expect a lot more in the next few days, and we'll be making sure to cover all of the updates as they walk through the gate, because time's starting to count down until 3.0's release, and I feel like the times are only going to start feeling a lot faster. So yeah, that'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen, our entire coverage of all the new drip marketing that's come out, and we will be making sure to do a bit more of an in-depth breakdown, probably sometime tomorrow, on all the things that we've seen over here, but just wanted to give you all that first reaction and that first look. Let me know what you all thought about this one. Peace out.